Okay, Johnnie, great to see you here at we're Stroud's Fitness over here in Hurst, Texas today. What have you been up? So what do you get done? Just working out, training people? What are you doing?
Yeah, I worked out earlier. Usually I don't work out on a Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, if nobody knew it. Usually I don't work out on Wednesday, but the Arnold's this weekend. So I leave tomorrow, which is Thursday, for the Arnold. So I got my back workout in today, which I usually do on Thursday, but done it a day early. So I can prepare and get down there and get comfortable down at the Arnold. And yes, absolutely, train a couple clients also.
Cool. So when's your next show?
Right now I'm preparing for the Arnold Brazil is April 22nd. So it's about 6.5 weeks away right now. I hadn't competed in a while. Last year, because of some medical reasons, I had to shut down around June time frame. So I didn't get to go to the Olympia the first time in 12 years, which that was a little bit of a kick in the butt. But now I'm beyond all the medical stuff. Everything's been cleared. I feel real good. My body's responding. Because I have to say, because of the medical issues, I had to sit down for a while and relax, and I really benefited from it. So I was never the one to truly, if you ever followed me or ever heard me talk, I'm not the one that like to rest or take a long time off. Normally after a show, I usually take about a week off, and then I'm right back to it, right back to training. But because of this, I took 3 months off, and man, I have to say my body's responding and, doing what it's supposed to do, like I'm 20 again. So I'm not mad at all. I'm really excited about this year and what's going to happen.
So how old are you now?
I'm 46 now.
Okay.
So yeah, TikTok is creeping up on me, and that's one thing none of us can, run fast enough away from. It's always going to catch up to you. So now, of course, I'm being a little bit smarter about things I do and the things I choose. And this is I'm planning on this being the last year to compete on stage also.
Training wise, what have you done differently? Because a lot of people may not be, when you did that deadlift, 832, you were masters then, you're over 40. So you've had a long career here and relatively healthy. Because everybody's getting banged up along the way. What do you think you've done, say, in the last 5-10 years that's helped you keep going where other people can't keep going?
Oh God, I would say just blessed in that way. I mean, I really truly don't have an answer for it, because I have not done everything I was supposed to keep myself, healthy, to where, like now I'm taking all the vitamins, all the minerals I'm supposed to take every day, and getting my blood work done, every 6 months to check on myself and stuff like this. Over the years, I haven't done that. So the older I got, I've gotten a little bit smarter. So maybe that's the trick there, is I started really focusing in after over 38. I start really focusing on myself health-wise and what's going on with my body, so I could have a little bit longevity. So I guess, and that's the difference and the eating. My eating habits is one of the huge things, because I really off season didn't care what I put in my mouth. I just wanted to be comfort food. So now I'm not so much on that, as just fuel at this point, and I know what time I'm supposed to eat, so I eat, what I'm supposed to, and I move on. I don't worry about it being the perfect meal or tasting perfect. It's just getting in what I need to fit the goals that I'm trying to achieve.
So before it was more of like just an off season, you're strict your diet, getting ready, but then the off season just eat kind of whatever.
Well, I took my natural talent or my genetics for granted, for years. So on off season, I didn't worry about it. I just ate McDonald's, donuts, whatever, I could get my hands on and not worry about it, because I knew, for one, I had the work ethic to get it off. To train as hard, to do as cardio as hard as I need to do to get it off. And then genetically, I was, gifted in that way. So I knew with them together, I can get myself in shape, but I wasn't counting on, some of the health problems that can be caused by not worrying about what you put in your mouth and not doing what you're supposed to do every day to keep yourself healthy. So in that kind of brought me to a crossroads of hey, you need to start paying attention because there's some problems here. And so I have, and I think that's what extended my career somewhat.
Okay. So you have a background in the military too, correct?
Oh, absolutely. 10 years in the Army. I turned 21 during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I was out there for 9 months altogether. What experience? I actually turned 21 when I was there in Saudi in '92. That seems like a lifetime ago when I think about it, because I was only, like I said, I turned 21 when I was there. I'm 46 now. So that seems like a whole nother life right now. Pretty amazing, life and journey that I've been on, through the Army and including through turning pro as a bodybuilder and, traveling and stuff like this it's been awesome.
Did you learn any lessons in the military you think that have kind of carried over into your career as a bodybuilder, trainer, whatever?
Oh, for sure. The military taught me so much discipline and the consistency also. And in bodybuilding, those are one of the two of the most important things that you can have is consistency and discipline. For sure, to get to those goals, to win these shows, to show up, when you don't win, to show up again on a consistent basis and look good, represent yourself, represent your company. It's really hard, and also made me, my mind stronger, stronger willed, to where you don't give up, you don't just, one failure, don't describe you. It's just something you're going through. It was pretty much easy for me to pick up the pieces and to move on when the results weren't what I wanted. So the military really has definitely helped me through my career of bodybuilding and powerlifting for sure.
So what did you do first, powerlifting or bodybuilding, and how did you get into this whole thing?
Oh, I was always a bodybuilder. I would say that when I started lifting.
When you say bodybuilding, competing or training as such?
No, just training because of my older brother, Willie, and he was a bodybuilder and he wanted to turn pro. To be honest, football was my life. I wanted to turn pro, as a running back, and there was pretty much no one in my town that didn't think or didn't believe that I wouldn't be there. In that, my brother, I followed him and, trained with him and worked out with him. Even, when I had to work out with the team, my coaches, used to take me to the side and be like, hey, Johnnie, can you do all the stuff that, we set out for the team to do? And then after that, do your brother's workout. I know that's more important to you, but, we got all these guys and not a lot of guys know as much as you do about training and stuff like this, so we need them to follow the program that we have set for them. So I was like, yeah, no problem. I did what they had set out for us first, and then I would move on to what my brother had wrote down for me.
And this is up in New Jersey or where?
Yeah, absolutely, in Hamilton, New Jersey, where I was born and raised. And with that, he, like I said, he was a bodybuilder. He wanted to turn pro as a bodybuilder, so he let me train with him and his buddies. So what younger brother wouldn't want to hang out with his older brother, when he was a teenager and I was around 11, 12 years old, and I was in heaven hanging out with my older brother, lifting with them and being at the gym. The camaraderie back in those days was so much different than what it is today. Nowadays, these guys are so selfish, it's ridiculous. Back then, everybody would yell for everybody else. You'd be across the gym watching some guy lift and you're just yell, come on, let's go. There was competition, but there wasn't competition to where you wasn't supporting the other guys that you were around. It was truly like brothers in iron back in the 90s, 80s, 90s. It was truly a lifting family or brothers in iron. Nowadays it's more selfishness and You know what I mean? People don't,
likes.
people don't have, Instagram likes, and people don't have time for people. But I'm totally old school, and people that know me know exactly what I'm talking about, and I haven't changed since those days, and I never will. Definitely.
So your brother's the one that got you into this?
Yeah, for sure. And anyway, I'm getting off the line a little bit, but like I said, my brother's a bodybuilder, and so I got to train with him. So of course I train like a bodybuilder, but I was always really strong. And even when I was younger, training with my brother and his friends, like when we used to go to maybe a new exercise, and I would like start to struggle, and my brother or friends go to help me. My brother's like, no, leave him alone, let him struggle. And I would struggle in that first set, and then the second set I would do it perfect. And he was like, see, just give him some time, he can discover. So he believed in me back then that I can accomplish it, or anything I put my mind to. And he didn't hinder me from learning. He let me learn on my own and let me struggle on my own. You know what I mean? And it was such a great feeling when I got to do it correctly without him putting his hands on me and making me do it correctly. So the feeling that was, it was incredible. From there, that belief, that he had in me that I can do it. So anyway, I always was really strong. For example, when I was 16 years old, I did 305 in a bench press meet, over the summer. With the football team. So I was really strong back then. And so it just developed over the years. I was in the military, like I said, for 10 years. And Johnnie Graham, he was the coach for the powerlifting team there in the military.
Fort Hood.
Yeah, in Fort Hood. And I knew Johnnie Graham. We met and stuff like this. And he asked me over and over to come out and try out for the team. And I just wouldn't do it. I just... this was so sunk into the bodybuilding thing, but I was lifting so much heavier than everybody else. It was crazy. But what got me into the powerlifting is actually Steve Goggins. When I got here to, Hearst, we're in Hearst, Texas, here at Stroud's. Steve saw me lifting, and I knew his reputation and stuff like this, and he held the world record at squat, 1,033 at the time. So he saw me lifting one day, and he came over and he was like, man, Johnny, you should come lift with me and the owner Kirk and a couple other guys and try to power lift with us. And I was like, okay. I didn't even question it. I had so much respect for him. You know what I mean? I was just like, hell, if this guy's saying that I can do it, then I'm going to try it. And it took off from there. Pretty much I started powerlifting then, and I enjoyed it and was like, whoa, I didn't know I can do this stuff. And yeah.
So who was all lifting? It was you, Goggins, and who was all around here back in those days?
Oh my, it was me, Steve, Kirk, the owner here at Stroud's Fitness, Billy, buddy Billy, Joel also was another guy, and there was a Big Tim and Little Tim. One was a cop and one wasn't. And Little Tim was the cop and Big Tim wasn't. And so it was us working out together, and it was so much fun. And they travel with me, these guys. When I done the powerlifting meets and stuff like that, Kirk was my coach, and set my numbers and all that kind of stuff. And so we became close and stuff like that. And I never left the gym. I'm always here. I work out at Metroflex, but Strauss will always be my home, or my original home, and stuff like this. And so until I graduated and started training with Josh Bryant, that's where I was with Kirk, and then of course I knew I could go a little bit further. So to do that, I had to get somebody at a larger level to get me there. And so that's when I started training with Josh, and accomplished what I did there at the Raw. Was it Raw Unity?
Yeah.
Yep.
And some of these sessions here apparently were real legendary, because I remember before we'd met, I'd read about it in Powerlifting USA. I think it was in the House of Pain, had a column in there. Talking about you guys, and
right.
It sounds like it was a pretty badass crew over here. I think I just missed that by a couple of years. It would have been cool to see it.
Yeah, actually, Enzer, he sponsored me back then. Yeah. I drove over to Waco, Texas, and to his office, a little
Longview.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's boards on the window. Like, you would never think nobody was there, you know, but his office is there, and I went inside and they custom made my shirts and stuff like that for me. So that was a really great experience for me back then.
And that's sort of what people got to realize too, is the numbers you hit later on that you bested were actually done raw, so they were that much sweeter in the sense of
absolutely.
When you beat your numbers, it's always good. When you're over 40, it's even better. But then when they were equipped then, raw now, it's even sweeter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for sure. Yep. So and the whole thing about that, almost got forced into doing raw because the equipment didn't work well for me. You know, because of me being a bodybuilder and the bigger shoulders, and you know what I mean, the proportion wise, the shirt didn't fit right. So it was more of a hindrance having the shirt on than it was a help. So I had to figure something else out.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, for bodybuilding, if you're any kind of carryover, benching a shirt, like learning to manipulate a shirt ain't going to carry over.
No, absolutely not. It's two different styles with the bodybuilder bench and the powerlifter bench. Totally two different styles.
Interesting question. I think you're the person to answer this too. Is I actually did a podcast last night, and I think you're gonna give a real good answer here. Is what do you think powerlifters can? Because I know there's generally like a sense of like brothers helping brothers, but there is sometimes bodybuilders make fun of powerlifters make fun of bodybuilders.
For sure.
So what can they learn from each other? Like if everybody's open-minded, what do you think?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Yeah, that's a excellent question. Yeah. Excellent question for sure. I don't think anybody ever asked me that. Like to put them two together like that, and because definitely these guys have no idea how much they can benefit from each other. And I am a good example of it, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. You know, everybody knows that. You know, so in saying that, with powerlifters, they specifically lift for the powerlifting for the 3 lifts. You know, they don't normally do a whole lot of bicep work, tricep work. You know, after the squat, they don't do a lot of extensions and, you know, presses and all the different exercises that comes with it. You know, especially with shoulders. The shoulder presses, the side laterals, the front raises, the rear delts, they forget about that stuff because they're just accessory exercises. I don't need them, you know, but you know what? Like I said, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So, in saying that, being a bodybuilder, you have to hit every muscle. Every muscle has to be balanced and look good, you know, flow into each other. So, with that, that's the link up with the powerlifting and the bodybuilding, is you're working the smaller, I call them the stabilizer. Exactly. You know, I couldn't find that word for nothing because I'm so excited about the question. Everything's like going 100 miles an hour because it's an awesome question. Nobody's asked me that. But yeah, they're the stabilizing muscle, you know, and you need all of it to be strong. You need all of them to fire off at one time, you know, and just think about it. You know, if you're a powerlifter, just think about it. You know how strong you are in the lift. Just imagine as if every little muscle around those bigger muscles are just as strong, you know, and all of them fire off at the same time. Imagine what weight you can lift. That's what I've been doing, you know. And then with the bodybuilders, the powerlifting, you know, with the heavier weight and lifting as a powerlifter, you break down the muscle bellies or muscle tissue a lot more than when you're a bodybuilder. You're working out as a bodybuilder, so you're losing heavier weight. There's more of a risk, yes, but you wrap, you put your belt on, you protect, and you use that max weight to break down the muscle tissue, so when it grows back bigger and stronger. We kind of miss that with bodybuilding because we go lighter and do a hell of a lot of reps, you know, but within that, your body get used to it and only going to break down so much muscle tissue. You need to get deep down in there if you want to get that bigger, huge, big muscle belly effect. You need to really break that muscle down. So in doing that, lifting heavy as a power lifter will give you that effect, so you can get the thickness you need to get to look better on stage as a bodybuilder. So yeah, to combine the both, it's a wonderful thing, and you just become stronger and bigger and a better you.
I think what it is, I think a lot of it is like people like you, Branch, and some people like that have it's better look because it's denser muscle from the heavy lifts. It's not like a 3D kind of comic
Absolutely.
Because those are just kind of pumping up otherwise, but you guys actually have like dense,
exactly.
looking muscles.
Yep. You're not going into the gym just to pump up to get on stage. You coming in the gym to break down lean muscle tissue so it grows back bigger and stronger. That's the whole concept of the thing. So yeah, just touching weight and just, I got a good pump. That's not good enough. You got to break that muscle down. Make sure you break it down. Don't give it any other choice, but to break it down. But all of your whole body, not just parts, that you're possibly going to use with your heavy lifting. Everything you're going to use. Everything's under pressure. So you want everything strong.
What about, so a lot of people watching this got a lot of questions about traps, so let's talk. I know you have great trap development, so
yeah.
What's your advice for people wanting to build bigger traps?
First, I'll tell you my little bit of story that probably half the world has heard it already because I've told it over and over again, but I enjoy telling it. It stems from me being young and being strong. When I was about 15, I was able to put 9 plates on either side on the barbell and do 15 shrugs. So once I discovered I could do that, I started doing it after every workout. I had no idea I was building. I know it was a trap exercise, but I had no idea I was building these things, but people used to see me and be like, holy crap, look at that little kid, he's freaking strong. So I'd be over there like, yeah, do 3 and 4 sets of just going out, and I had no idea. And as I got older, they just started growing and growing. I'm like, holy crap, and so that's how, it wasn't something that I sought out to do. It just happened to happen because of what I was trying to show out and do. But for people, I recommend you don't have to do anything fancy. Just straight up, stand up shoulder shrugs, either barbell or dumbbell. You could just go with that. That's all I did. And high rep, 15 to 20 reps.
It sounds like heavy too.
Oh, absolutely heavy. You have to go. They're like calves. You have to overtrain them. Unfortunately, my calves didn't get the message from my traps. They're still trying to send them down there. But you do have to overtrain them. You got to go heavier than you normally would, and you have to do more reps than you normally could with that weight, to get them traps to grow.
So are you having to do when you're working your side delts, are you having to be real conscious of not using your traps?
Yes, man. Oh my God, my traps constantly take over. They just swell up and they hurt the whole freaking workout. They hurt. So it's really hard to get them involved into the movement that I'm doing. And then I completely don't do any shrug work. I still do upright rows, but I bring my hands out wider so I hit my outer delts a little bit more. Instead of keeping them a narrow grip, I go a wide grip. Because I got to take the concentration off the traps, because if not, they just blow up. So it's really hard to get them out of the workout now. So it's a good bad thing. People are going, wow, but they don't know it's not that great. Plus, at one point, going out on stage, if you got traps like this and you're standing next to a guy who has really broad shoulders, then you look even narrower, next to a guy like that, because you're standing up and he's, capped out. So I had to work on, like I said, I bring my hands out when I'm doing upright rows to work my outer delts more. I had to, finagle some of the exercise so, I can manipulate and not use traps as much, so I can add on to my delts, to balance that out. Because you walk out there and you look like that, then they're not paying attention to you. They're looking at the guy with the broad shoulders, because that's the first thing you see when the guy walk out on stage.
Have you had any serious injuries at all, or?
I had some injuries, but not kind of serious. The one thing on my left leg is I tore my Achilles tendon. So my calves already weren't that great, and then I did that walking. Actually, it was at night, and I was over a buddy's house, and he had his water meter uncovered, and so of course you don't see it at night that it's uncovered, and I'm walking, I stepped in the hole, and it just popped. It just went sideways off the spigot, and it just snapped. So I had that, and then I tore both of my quads, but luckily it wasn't really deep. It was the fascial tissue on my quads. I was getting ready for a powerlifting meet, and I was headed out to Italy, to the FIBO in Italy one year. And when I came back on Friday, that Saturday was the powerlifting meet. So I wanted to make sure, I wanted to get 800. So I wanted to make sure, I was in line for it before I left and went to Italy. So that Monday I came in just to do some warm-ups, and, I was going to go up to 771 and, do a couple reps with that and be like, okay, I'll be good when I get back. And everything was going normal, and I was using cold briefs at that. They're really tight. They're like underwear, but like super tight. You can barely get them on. It probably take you about 20 minutes to get them on. But it's just, they support you when you squat. So I didn't have them cinched in all the way. I had them a little bit down. So it was cutting, I didn't know, it was cutting off my circulation, but my quads from working all the way.
Your knees throw forward to even stretch your quads worse.
Right, absolutely. And it was cutting off the signal for my full quad to work. And so I went down, I had 700 on, I went down, I did a couple reps. My third rep, I went down, and it just went rip, my left one. And so then I tried to muscle it up, the rack, and the right one, rip. And so I just fell backwards. Boom! And I was like, yep, there goes my career. I'm done. I could have swore I tore both quads off the bone. It felt so bad, hurt so bad.
I bet.
But after about 10 minutes, I told the guys not to touch me, and they let me lay there about 10 minutes, and then they grabbed me and helped me into the trainer room, kind of dragged me into the trainer room. And Scott was a trainer here at the time. He put stem on my legs, and we went through a cycle of that. Then I could put pressure on it. Then I jumped in my car, went home, jumped in the shower, and on my way home, I had ice bags on my quads. And so I went home, jumped in because I was headed to Italy. I was like 2 hours out to get to the airport. So I went home, I took a handful of ibuprofen, and then I put heat on, but with the heat, I got in the shower and just let the shower water like heat up my legs and got the circulation going a little bit better. And then my wife, she was my girlfriend, then my wife picked me up, take me to the airport, and I was like, babe, man, I messed up my quads because I was working, walking weird. And I was like, I'm okay though, and she was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And she dropped me off, and then she discovered when she came to the gym what actually happened, and she called me. She was like, oh my God, you didn't tell me. I would have never let you leave. And I was like I had a choice. I got to go to work. And so I was there in Italy, and both my quads were like, I can't even describe the color. They were purple, black, whatever, maroon. It was horrible, and I could barely bend my knees. And the worst thing about it was I was signed with Flex Magazine at the time, and they had set up bleachers in the gym area, and they had announced that, hey, Johnny Jackson, the world's strongest bodybuilder, is here. He'll be working out, at these times. I'm like, dude, I can barely walk. And you want to have me work out in front of people? Like, and the promoter name was Fabio. And he was like, man, John, you can't let me down. You can't let me down. So I was like, all right, man, I'll do my best. And so they would announce me, I'll come out, and like I could barely bend my knees, and I'll wave like I'm not in pain. And then, I still bench real heavy and stuff like this. I was benching 500. And so I would instead of sitting on the bench, I would just like let myself fall back on the bench. It was just hard. It was a horrible time, but got through it, got through the week. And that was one of the worst injuries that I've had. Other than that, I pulled the ligament in my neck. Whenever they say don't look down when you're squatting, trust me, don't. Because I was doing about 600 one day, and it was we were doing 8 reps, so I got done my 8th rep, and for some reason when I went to go rack, I don't know what was in my head, but I remember going like this. As soon as I went like this, something went pop, and I was like, whoa! And I was like bent over for 2 months. I walked bent over. I couldn't stand up straight. So I had to go to chiropractor 3 times a week for a month, and finally, he got me upright after a while. But I pulled a ligament in my neck, and so that was the other injury that I had.
So what's how much longer you compete for?
Oh, this is my last year. I'm planning on this being my last year, actually. Unless something spectacular happened to where, it's like you're stupid if you walk away, then that's the only way I would compete again next year. But definitely this year, I'm planning on doing, like I said, Arnold, Brazil will be my first show. That's April 22nd. My second one will be the Toronto Pro. I think it's about 2 weeks after that. And then I think a few weeks after that is the Arnold, South Africa. And then I plan on doing Chad Nichols' show in Arkansas. And then Arnold, Spain. And then hopefully somewhere in there qualify for the Olympia.
Maybe some powerlifting masters records after that.
Yeah. Hey, once this is done, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Then let's talk about what else you're going to do after you get, because obviously if you're even doing powerlifting, it's going to take up all your time. What are you going to do professionally now that you're done?
Well, this is my 3rd year of the Johnnie O. Jackson Classic. So I'm turning into, in Fort Worth, Texas, I'm turning into a promoter. I'm promoting now because I want to stay in the business, of course. So this is the 3rd year for the Johnnie O. Jackson Classic here in Fort Worth. I have a new show that's coming up April 30th in Puerto Rico. So I'm excited about that. It's right around.
Or where?
Well, it's on the west side of the island. It's not in San Juan. It's about 45 minutes from San Juan. Carlos Rodriguez is my, some of you guys might know him out there. He's my partner in it. Okay. And so that's where he's from. He's from the west side of Puerto Rico. And so that's why we're going to put the show, because there's no shows there. Sean Roden and Della, they have Garcia, they have a show on the opposite side. I think it started last year for their shows. So we separated ourselves and went to the west side where there's no shows. There haven't been a show on the west side of the island for 10 years. We're the first ones to get it. And so I'm super excited about it. And if this goes well, I'm kind of hesitating. If this goes well, then we're going to announce in October we're going to do a national qualifier there also in Puerto Rico. So that'll be 3 shows. My ultimate goal is to have 5 shows to promote a year under my name. So, looking forward to that. Also, looking into a little bit of t-shirt designing and stuff like this. So we're working now on my first design to come out, and hopefully I'll have it here in a few weeks and start putting that out and see where we can go with that.
Yeah, let us know when it's out. We can definitely help you spread the word.
Yeah, for sure.
People. So with promoting the shows, are you? Is there a way, like, if people are interested in having you promote a show or something, contact you, or like, I don't know how this works in bodybuilding. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I need competitors, I need sponsors, I need vendors. So you can go to my website, www.jojfitness.com, and get all the information off there.
That's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can contact me, email me through that.
He'll actually email you back too. It's not,
for sure. Yeah, I appreciate everyone and anyone that would come out and help make the show even better than last year. I like to do charity stuff along with my shows, because to give back is the most important thing, one of the most important things to me. And the shows are important, of course, but we got a lot of things in this world that's a little bit more important. Yeah. And if I can highlight it a little bit and help out, hell, I'm all for it. And so last year we did back to school for needy families.
Awesome.
And that went so great, and we actually got to help out a few schools. Matter of fact, my wife is a librarian. She was a 2nd grade teacher for 7 years. Now she's been the librarian for 8 years at Harrison Lane Elementary. So we were able to we had a lot of overflow, and so we were able to really help out, the school and stuff like that. And the teachers were and the principal was so happy and stuff like that, and we were happy to help out, and so that went great. This year we're going to feed the homeless this year, and hopefully I can have a 2-day event where Friday during setup we can do it, and then also Saturday morning before the show would be awesome. So man, if you can lend a hand in that, I would surely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, you can go to my website, www.jojfitness.com. We'll have all that information up to where to donate, where to be, and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I really appreciate your help.
What about people that want to use you as a trainer or anything? How do they contact you for that?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's been a while. I've been doing some online clients, and I got some guys and girls in Canada and stuff like this that I train for bodybuilding and stuff like that. But I got away from it because I had gotten so busy, competing and traveling for the companies that I'm signed with. And so now that I'm winding down, I'm picking that back up, because it's one of the most fulfilling things for me in my life, is helping people accomplish their goal. I can't tell you, it's like whenever they do, it's like I'm accomplishing it also. The feeling, it's amazing. And so I'm getting back into personal training and, training people and helping people out. And no matter what age or, what level, of athlete you are, or if you don't have to be an athlete at all, you just want to look a little bit better or feel a little bit better or function a little bit better. I'm all for it, and ready and willing to help. And the same thing, you can go to my website to contact me, and we'll go from there.
So if it's in person, it's here at Stroud's.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're in the Hurst, Texas area, you might be able to take advantage in person. If you're anywhere in civilization otherwise,
yeah,
the online. So.
Yep, and I love to bring you out, or I come out to you also, because I like to have some personal touch to it. Sure. So one way or the other, midway through your goal, we'll meet up. Either I come to you, or we'll have you come out to me, and we'll do some training together and discuss what's going on and what's been happening and all that kind of good stuff. And then we move on from there.
Okay, cool. So basically, I think we probably need to do a part 2, because I think we need to cover a lot more things, but it's good for today. You have anything else you want to finish up with? No,
I just, like I said, Johnnie O. Jackson Classic, August 27th of 2017. I can use your help in the Feed the Homeless. I can use vendors. I can use sponsors. I can use competitors.
What's the date you said?
August 27th, 2017. So I look forward.
I'm in town, I'm happy to help with the homeless thing. So.
Cool. That'd be awesome. And look forward to it. And just check me out through the year. Through this year, I'm going to try to do some amazing things on stage and get this old body back together and have it like you never seen me before. See me like you saw me for the first time. And so I'm excited and looking forward to it, and looking forward to meeting you.
Sort of funny, one time I ran into a friend of mine in the parking lot of Metroflex Gym, and where we were training, and he said he could feel the energy from our workout literally out in the parking lot. It's almost like we were plugged into the deep rhythm of the cosmos or something. The energy was so special. And so Matt, and I sort of joking there with using what Mike Mincer used to talk about, halfway joking, because I kind of felt what he was talking about when we were training here. But anyways, Matt Lair was training with Johnnie Jackson, and we're focusing on Johnnie here. So it was us three training every Tuesday at 11 a.m. But Matt and Johnnie don't notice, but before they knew it, we had like literally 20 people that they weren't deadlifting with us, but they're just in the gym, and they were starting to like get there early, take up our platforms and stuff. And I literally had to call them aside and say, look, you're not allowed to deadlift till 12:30, or you can go on the other side of the gym. You know why this was happening? It was because it was such high energy deadlift sessions. It was like literally everybody in the gym was setting PRs. Random people would just show up for day passes on those Tuesdays, and it was like everybody was feeding off the energy. It was like, I don't know, it was just totally amazing to be a part of. And if you watch Johnnie here, one of the things we really had to work on was him actually learning to be more explosive. So he looks pretty explosive here, but the first time I ever saw Johnnie lift, he did 600 for a number of reps, And he was talking about doing over 800 pounds, and I thought the dude was crazy. I didn't really know him, but they were so slow. I didn't think he put 700 with a gun to his head, but sure enough, he did like 771 or something after that, and it was because dude is so mentally tough and his lower back so strong. But we did is really work on his explosiveness, actually make him concentrate on being explosive. He had a very strong lower back. His upper back was not super strong, so we really strengthened his upper back to like a superhuman level. And then we also brought up his hamstrings. His hamstrings were our far his weakest muscle. By bringing those up to snuff, it made Johnnie more structurally balanced. Excuse me. And by default, that sort of corrects Johnnie's technique, obviously, because the more structural balanced you are, the more likely you're going to be to use the correct muscles to lift the weight. You know, it makes sense. So this was in preparation for Raw Unity. Johnnie ended up hitting 832 at Raw Unity, and that was the biggest Masters deadlift in the world that year. And he actually hit 832 twice. He got it on a second attempt to get up super easy. He got so excited, he just threw the weight down. So we had to take it over on a third just because we didn't want the training cycle to be a bust and end with his 771 opener. But by golly, I would easily bet $10,000 that he could have hit 850 plus that day. I mean, the 832s on YouTube here is very, very easy lift. We got him going with 755 here. Let's watch him. Getting everything dialed in. Johnnie's always in the zone, you know. I said he doesn't, you know, when all this stuff I told you was going on of various people, I mean, it's like he didn't know the difference. You know, he wouldn't hear the roar of the crowd, the sweat pour down his face. If he's crushing a bone, he wouldn't feel it. I mean, the dude is in the zone. He knows right here, right now, concentrated on it. So he basically started this. He had a goal at the beginning to hit 832 with the end in mind. He concentrated on the present moment. He is totally in the zone. Never let anything get in his way. It was never like we even thought if this is going to happen. We always acted as if it was going to happen. It wasn't because, you know, we're trying to run some kind of, you know, cute self-help seminar. It was bound to happen. It was like it was destiny. Getting them slapped up, getting them ready. Watch this 820 right here. So Johnnie gets himself ready. Aligned. That's one thing, actually, being a real high level lifter like that, we always made sure we got him aligned, always. So I always say alignment, then you do your alignment, then your assignment. So you line yourself up on the bar, and then your assignment is to pick up that pig iron and get the job done. And that's exactly what he did. So after that, we did some band-resisted deadlifts too. Johnnie was have some issues locking out his deadlifts. He at first, he was kind of one of those guys that if the bar came off the floor, he'd lock it out. And then he became, so explosive that, he kind of lost that. But then we started working in the banded deadlifts, and those were very helpful with Johnnie's lockout. Watch him go here. So here he goes. Making sure he's aligned. The dude's intense. Just look at his eyes. I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world off the platform. Watch him pull us up. Boom. Okay, here he goes here. Got some bands and chains on the bar. Really nailing that lockout here. Here we go. Watch him. I mean, looking back on the training cycle, there'd probably be a few things. There'd be some things I do a little bit differently now, but I mean, it paid up. The goals reached. So here he goes with 685 on the floor. It's going to be 865 at the top. So now it's going to give him the confidence. What was once his weakness, he knows if 865 is coming up, it's going to go down in the meat. This is pretty exciting. I haven't watched this in a couple of years. It gets me. I hope I'm, doing this at 6:53 at night. I usually go to sleep about 8, so I'll probably be up to like 10 or 11 tonight because I'm so fired up watching this. Very strong. So here we go. He's working some speed deadlifts right here, or as we call them, lightning deadlifts. So watch, as he lifts the weight up, he's gonna lift the weight up with the chains on, set it down, we pull it up, and look how explosive that second rep is because of the enhanced stretch reflex. This is a very good tool, also for people, the hopelessly speedless, to become a little more speedy. So Johnnie in the beginning, if you didn't know him or anything about him, looked hopelessly speedless. I could tell by watching him do other things there was an explosive dude under there. It just needed to be let out, and that's exactly what happened. You see Big Matt Lair behind him, and Big Matt Lair actually deadlifted 765 this training cycle. Very good stuff here. These are called lightning deadlifts. This is one of the chest training sessions where I'm training Johnnie and just helping him get ready here for the 2012 Olympia. He looked awesome at that show too. It was a huge breakout year for him because not only Johnnie was obviously establishing himself as the strongest bodybuilder that year with his 832 deadlift at Raw Unity, which we're also going to look at, but he also he kind of resurrected his bodybuilding career. But in 2011, 2010, it was people were starting to write Johnnie off, and this was a huge year for him. He kind of not only put himself back as sort of an established professional, but actually in contention. He won some shows. He actually got number 9 at the Olympia, and I think the Olympia sort of earn your bones in the sense of if it's going to be pretty tough to climb the placings much more than that compared to the year before where he didn't place just because, you sort of want you to prove yourself there. But he did an awesome job and looked amazing at that Olympia. You should go back and check out the pictures if you haven't seen them. And here we're starting off with the neutral grip bench press, getting a slight pause at the bottom, getting a full range of motion. And what we're doing here is obviously the neutral grip is bodybuilders like to talk about, different angles and muscle confusion. Of course, this is going to hit a different angle, also prevent some of the wear and tear in the shoulders and things like that from using the overhand pronated grip constantly. And of course, he's also making sure to get that full range of motion there because he's been doing more reps where he never actually got that full range of motion here, and it's almost like, bordering on a peak contraction at the top where he really kind of gets that little extra squeeze, and sort of like in a bro science way, you could say, puts on the finishing touches there. Got a big branch there spotting him. And of course, we're training at Metroflex Gym. It was about, literally about 110. The summer of 2012 was a very, very hot summer. And Johnnie handled it like a champion, never ever complains. Just always wants to do more. And here we go, he's finishing off here. And this barbell, FYI, is about 57 pounds. I don't think it was made by a professional company. It was more of like a bootleg type of barbell, great exercise. So here we have Johnnie next, training the bench press with a band. So again, like I said before he had not been doing a great job of locking all the weights here. So not only are we making sure he locks out the weights here, we're also adding a band, which is like accommodated resistance, meaning as he pushes on, the bench press has an ascending strength curve, essentially meaning it's going to, when you're lengthened at the bottom of the movement, it's going to be most difficult. As you get near the top, it's going to theoretically get easier and easier. So what the band does is complement that strength curve. So theoretically, you can overload the entire range of motion. So not only are we working his weakness, we're really exposing it by adding that band, because if that's already your weakness, just locking out the reps is tough enough, then adding that band makes it that much harder right there. And so here we go here. So you kind of got the groove here. Hadn't done any bands in a long time. We're really focusing on getting the job done here, not so much just trying to fill it out here. That was about 125 pounds of tension at the top. And next, we went with the dips here. So I personally feel like dips is one of the most underutilized training tools for building a massive chest and triceps there is. And he's got that good forward lean, really putting the emphasis on his chest here. And here we go again. Another set. So these really have helped Johnny build a huge chest. He easily does reps with over 200 pounds, which is pretty exciting. And here he goes again. Getting good solid reps in here. Good stretch to the bottom. And he's adding more. I think he's up to about, this was, 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, so I don't recall the exact weight on the sheet, a sheet that tells me right in front of me, but I believe this is about 220 pounds right here. And he's going to finish off doing these dips here for a minute straight, just not really working on so much as before. Is he's really working on moving, without sacrificing technique, tension, or tightness, just moving effectively from point A to point B here. He's slowing it down using a rhythmic tempo and just we're trying to get reps for 1 minute straight. This is very, very difficult for most people to do. It's especially difficult if you've done all those heavy dips ahead of time. And it's even more difficult if this is a third exercise in the workout and the first two were compound movements that were very, very difficult. So what we want to do here is, even when you hit failure, you want to keep on trucking. You want to do as best you can and move with partial repetitions and just blast that muscle. So this is another one of my favorite exercises. I remember the first time Johnny did this, he screamed, "I can feel every single muscle fiber in my pec contract." And watch as he goes here. So what this does, as you get to the bottom part of the fly, he link by link, those chains unload on the ground. So where you're weakest, where you're most vulnerable at the bottom of the fly, that's where the least resistance is, because it's accommodating resistance. So at the bottom, again, having that ascending strength curve. So at the bottom, you're lifting the least amount of weight. But as you lift the weight up link by link, and your mechanical advantage improves, those links come off the ground, making it heavier and heavier. So you, like a dumbbell fly, only overloads the bottom of the movement where you get that good stretch. A cable fly can sort of provide that continuous tension, where the chain flies sort of meet somewhere in the middle. They're not, negating that stretch, but they're all, you're getting some of that stretch, but you're also getting that continuous tension provided that you would with a cable. And these suckers are heavy here, so what he's doing is time sets, not like a specified rep count. We're actually going time sets here. So what you do, again, when you hit failure with the chains, is instead of dropping them, you can do partial repetitions with presses. So you continue pressing the weight as hard as you can. When you can no longer press, then as the presses become shorter range of motion, you keep going. If you can no longer literally move them, just hold them at the bottom and isometrically squeeze as hard as you can. And I promise you will get something out of it. This is what anybody with a remote mind-muscle connection are just going to feel them gush with blood right there. And here's another one of my, like this movement right here. He's got a little bit, not even that heavy for him right here. And we try to do this more of a peak contraction style. But Johnny is so fatigued at this point that obviously, he's using a little looser form, which is okay at this point in the workout. We're doing more time sets here. And obviously, I'd say the further you are and more advanced you are in your bodybuilding journey, the more you'll be able to get away with using looser form, because we've done before with Johnnie and Branch, when I went out there just to observe the workout. I didn't even train them or anything. Just got to kind of like act like an anthropologist. As you saw them lift the weight and they so-called cheating, you can see the muscle tense up and tense up and tense up. So it's sort of like cheating can be so advantageous to people that are able to use it correctly, but it can be the worst thing in the world if you don't. But like Johnny, if you're up close and personal, you can see those pecs working harder and harder. So that was a minute straight. So, I think to maximally develop a muscle,
you have to use a holistic approach. So obviously in the beginning of the workout, and we went very heavy, recruiting those high threshold, fast twitch muscle fibers. They better require heavy weight to do them. So obviously that's going to give, or not obviously, but that's going to give you that denser look. So people that only train for a pump, those are the kind of people that look more like they've been just like blown up. They're almost like cartoon characters that have been puffed full of air. And people like Johnnie, Bryant, and a lot of guys that have a powerlifting background, they have that more kind of functional, dense, no nonsense physique kind of look. Well, anyways, this final thing we're finishing off here is a 2.5 minute bench press. This is one of my favorite for bodybuilders to get those slow twitch muscle fibers, because generally they say the spectrum of hypertrophy best occurs between about 20 and 70 seconds of time under tension. But think about it. Obviously people that are powerlifters that never do a set over 20 seconds get big, and people that do like bodyweight training, the sets take 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and never do lower reps, they get pretty muscular too. So clearly that may be the ideal range to maximize growth, but you don't have to pick one range. You can use a holistic approach. High reps, low reps, heavyweight, lightweight, fast tempo, slow tempo, etc., etc. So what you do here is 3 reps. The person coaching, myself in this case, after you've done 3 reps, you call go. They do 3 more. So if you get to the point where you can't hold the weight up or anything like that anymore, what you do is you got to continue on with, you can hold it at the bottom and you like that, and you make sure you isometrically squeeze as hard as possible. Then instead of yelling go with full range of motion reps, you do start partials. Or I'm actually giving him a spot here because he's like literally dead, and these are very light weights, and it's just we're pushing so far beyond failure. This is a very, very advanced bodybuilding workout, but I mean obviously the results paid off, and on the huge improvement he made that year. So it wasn't like any of these extreme techniques were done in vain. It was not like a failed experiment. It was a very successful one. And a lot of people don't train similar to this because they don't know about this. Other people may be much smarter and be very well aware of how effective this would be, but they don't want to put themselves to the pain. So finally, we did a Juarez Valley 20 push-ups. So what you do here is, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but he's going to do 20 push-ups, okay? So it's a Juarez Valley 20. He does 20 push-ups, gets up, walks across his prison cell, aka the Metroflex Gym parking lot, does 1 rep. Then next he'd go 19 and 2, then he'd go 18 and 3, 17 and 4, 16 and 5, 15 and 6, 14 and 7, 13 and 8, 12 and 9, 10 and 11. So once every number between 1 and 20 has been covered once, he's completed a Juarez Valley 20. And you got to realize, this is 110 out there. Most people wouldn't even be able to do 1 push-up because the damn pavement's too hot. Big balls, it's all sorts of that. I felt cruel putting them through this, but it paid off. So great workout here. Metroflex Gym 2012.